We're going to um, we're going to look into this IMS network more. So yesterday we have introduced these IMS network components and what their functionalities and typically what do they do. So such details have been revealed to us. In order to understand this IMS network, um, we need to be really clear on three components functionalities. Those three components are PCSCF, SCSCF, and ICSCF. These are the three components functionalities that we must be clear about. So we will specifically look into these three components roles and then go ahead and study the IMS call flows um, in IMS environment. Okay, one by one. So first we are going to study the functionalities of PCSCF. What does it do? What is the primary roles? PCSCF is the first contact point within an IMCN subsystem, like your IMS subsystem. So its address is discovered by the UEs either with the help of DNS or it will be finding out the proxy CSCF's address by using the DNS, from P gateway, one of it. So this component is going to behave like a proxy in terms of SIP environment. So in SIP we have this proxies, so it is almost behaving like a proxy. It accepts the requests and services them internally and forward them on. That's one of the role. And PCSCF shall not modify the request URI that is received inside the SIP invite message. It shall not modify the request URI. Which one is considered as a request URI? The SIP URI that is part of your request method's start line will be considered as a request URI. You are not allowed to modify that request URI. So typically request URI will be pointing out to where the SIP service is getting initiated, to which destination the SIP service is getting initiated. You are not allowed to make modification to that request URI part. And the PCSCF at times may behave like a user agent as well in some in abnormal conditions or in some special conditions. In other cases, it will be just acting as a proxy and deal with that situation. And what are the functions of PCSCF? It will be forwarding the SIP register request received from the UE to an entry point determined using the home domain name as provided by the UE. What is the meaning of home domain name? Um, so if your PCSCF belongs to your home network and you are trying to register with the same home network, then PCSCF will forward the register method to the SCSCF belongs to the same home network or home domain. But if a roaming user is visiting a roaming network and reached the roaming PCSCF, and when the request comes to roaming PCSCF, um, roaming PCSCF determines that this user is not our user. This user is not our network user. This guy belongs to other IMS network user. Then it will be forwarding the request message not towards the SCSCF, but it will be forwarding the request towards the ICSCF of that user's home network. So the idea in IMS environment always is you must be registering with a SCSCF. Um, your home SCSCF you must always register with, irrespective of your present under whichever IMS network. You may be present under home IMS network or you may be under roaming IMS network, but your registration must happen with the home domain. So the job of the PCSCF is to determine like the register message must be sent to the uh, SCSCF or it must be forwarded somewhere else. So it will determine and it will act accordingly. ensure and inserts the correct access network type information from the messages received from the UE to the SIP server. Here, SIP server typically represents SCSCF. So, if any SIP message arrives, it is the duty of the PCSCF to validate and include the correct network related details like which network the mobile is right now accessing, LTE network or a UMTS network or any other IP technology network with which mobile is connecting to the IMS network. That details would be verified by PCSCF and added by PCSCF. Typically, it will be verifying it. Mostly, mobile equipment himself would be adding those details in the form of P access info. That thing that you can see it in the log file, in the IMS log file that we have studied. So it forwards the SIP requests and responses to the UE. In case if it is incoming calls, it will forward requests. Otherwise, it is outgoing call, it will be forwarding responses. Detect and handle an emergency session establishment request. This is what I talked about at the end. At last, someone was asking about SIP emergency sessions or IMS emergency sessions. So your PCSCF might have a functionality available with it, which it can perform global title translation, etc. That kind of activities can be available with P if IMS network is implementing IMS emergency things. And generation of the CDRs, call data records, um, in terms of SIP services, it will generate that, and it will be maintaining a security association with itself to the mobile equipment to make sure that the data is securely exchanged between itself to mobile, like presentation layer will be involved, like SIPs, etc. If required, if the SIP messages need to be compressed in order to save the bandwidth, we can actually compress those messages, because anyway on the LTE network, nobody opens the SIP messages like P gateway, S gateway, B. All these guys don't need to open the SIP messages. Even if PCSCF compresses the messages and send it, mobile can decompress it and understand it. In the middle, you will be able to save the bandwidth. So any such additional functions need to be performed that would be done by this PCSCF component. And also this PCSCF is responsible for quality of service management for your SIP sessions by communicating with your PCRF network element. So PCRF for quality of service implementation, it will communicate with that. So these are the functionalities of proxy CSCF. Then the next one, interrogating CSCF. Interrogating call session control function, ICSCF, is the contact point within an operator's network for all the connections that are destined to this particular network operator from a external network. If anything is incoming, the entry point into the IMS network is ICSCF, that is the contact point, the entry point. Or if a user is roaming, if the user originally belongs to a um, home IMS network and he is in roaming IMS network right now. Now, if we perform some kind of a registration or something like that, then the registration message will arrive from the user to the roaming PCSCF. From roaming PCSCF, the message will be forwarded to ICSCF. ICSCF will be, helping out that user for these roaming users. In what way it will be helping? In terms of registration, ICSCF will be assigning SCSCF to a user performing the SIP registration by being in a roaming network. It'll be it'll be helping the user. So in uh, if the user is already registered, HSS already knew mobile equipment is registered with which SCSCF. But if the user is not registered, if he is like a new guy, but coming and doing the registration, but not by being in home network, he is coming from the roaming network, then the call will come from the user to P of the roaming network, P to the I of the home network, I to the S. So assignment of the SCSCF is the duty of I. Of course, assignment of SCSCF is the duty of P also, in case if the user is performing the registration within the home network itself. It will be done by the PCSCF. So either I will be doing the assignment of SCSCF or P will be doing it. If the mobile, by being in the home network, if it is performing a registration, P will do it. If the mobile is performing a registration by being in a roaming IMS network, um, based on his location, so then the selection of the SCSCF would be done by ICSCF. So one of the two components. So there could be multiple ICSCFs within an operator network. So as the entry points, if the SIP requests are arriving from the external IMS networks, the request may come to any of these ICSCFs that are available for a operator's network. So it receives the SIP requests arriving from other network towards SCSCF. It routes the SIP request messages. So if you are receiving any request from the outside network to I's duty is to forward it towards the S with which the mobile user is registered. And one of the other jobs of ICSCF is translate um, the SIP URIs with phone number or telephone numbers, etc. If before you query the HLR about that user's present location details, before questioning it, we need to convert them into the correct numbers, and then we have to send the location queries if in case we are receiving the call towards a CS network. So, or vice versa, it can convert your E.164 numbers or telephone URIs into SIP URIs if the calls are the other way around. So it can have this kind of functionalities, ICSCF component. But in which scenarios it will be useful, we will study that in the call flows. And it obtains the HSS, it obtains the SCSF address from the HSS, forwards the SIP request or response messages to the SCSF determined by the step above. You will be forwarding it. Of course, interrogating CSF also can do the generation of the CDRs in terms of the services being used by the mobile subscriber. So CDR generation can be done by ICSF also. So these CDRs are these call data records are IMS call data records. For example, so and so user has, for example, Reliance Jio counting how many minutes of voice calls that you are using. So that is the CDRs. So the CDRs will either be generated by your PCSCF if the user is in home network. Otherwise, it can be done by ICSCF if the user is in roaming network. So the primary component in LTE environment, sorry, IMS environment is SCSCF, serving call session control function. It controls the services of the user and maintains the session state needed by the network operator to support different services. Within an operator's network, there can be many number of SCSCF might be present, but the functions performed by SCSCF are majorly related to registration and session or related or session unrelated functions. At the time of registration, it need to contact HSS and get the subscriber information and store it. When it comes to the session related and session unrelated, any if any service is being requested, you will by using the public user identities or private user identities, you will be able to determine whether to accept those requests and services or reject it. You will be determining with the help of the information procured from HSS, and you will act accordingly. So, so basically, this guy is a decision maker. Just like if you take our GSM, UMTS, or G environments, your MSC is the service authorization components, SGSN is the service authorization components. When we come to LTE, for LTE related services, MME is the service authorization components, like how many PDNs mobile equipment can be connected to, what is the quality of service mobile can achieve, etc., etc. But when it comes to IMS network, the service authorization component is SCSCF. you need to convince SCSCF to get any service ongoing.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what is this a session unrelated flows?
Even if any messages are originated by the users which are not in terms of sessions, like for example, registration is typically going to be considered as a session unrelated procedure because it is not to establish a SIP session, it is to complete registration documents. So those kind of things which are not related to SIP sessions will be called as SIP session unrelated things.
Okay, sir.
Um, so to communicate between those SIP um, control components and your HSS, we have an interface called a CX, and these are the messages that would be exchanged between these components. And which messages are going to be exchanged between what components, we will be able to identify that. So typically this multimedia authentication request and multimedia authentication response is between SCSCF to HSS. It is going to be between these components, SCSCF to HSS. We use this multimedia authentication request, multimedia authentication answer. So SCSCF will trigger this multimedia authentication request towards HSS. HSS will reply back with multimedia authentication answer with authentication parameters by using which SCSF can challenge the user to validate whether the user is genuine or not genuine. Um, and if the um, user is like is proved to be genuine and if he is going to be with SCSCF, for example, then then HSS is going to send this message called as push profile request and push profile answer. These are diameter messages. Push profile is pushing the profile from HSS to SCSCF component. Tell the SCSCF please store this subscription information related to this user and provide IMS related services whenever the services are requested by the users. And if for any time, if HSS detect that the user's registration must be terminated because his subscription is finished or whatever, then HSS can trigger a registration termination request and a registration termination answer. So that can be done. And you will have this location info request and location info answer where ICSCF will be sending it towards the HSS to find out mobile equipment is right now subscribed with which SCSCF. So to find out that information, I will be triggering it towards the HSS. Uh, to validate whether a user is first of all existing or not, again this message will be originated by I towards the HSS. Ask HSS that is this guy first of all present with us or not, he is our user or not our user. I can question it with HSS. Once the user authenticity is proved, then your ICSCF will ask HSS, can you please tell me what is the location of the user? Right now, the user has been located under which SCSCF. So that details will be requested. And once you get to know mobile is registered with which ES, the SIP messages can be forwarded to that ES. The SIP uh, messages that are getting triggered can be forwarded there.
It means, can we say in in IMS network, I and P is acting as a MME and S is acting as a inode B.
Sorry, Ronak, I did not get that.
Just I am related this IMS network to LT network. So
No.
can we say that I and P is acting as a MME and S is acting as a inode B?
No, we cannot say that because I and S both are control components, whereas MME is a control component, but Inode B is not. Inode B is a radio component. It is not a control component. I and S and P, all these three are control components, which are like three parts of MME. So three subparts of MME we can consider them as. So they are not. They cannot be compared that way at all. So basically, if you want to do any comparison, you have to compare it with SIP networks. If you are comparing it with the SIP network, how do you have to understand? I and P, you have to consider them as proxies. I and P, you will be considering them as proxies. Whereas S will be considered as a register. So this is how you have to understand, like from SIP network point of view. Um, but nothing else. No other way of comparing it with any of the in any other cases. But if you compare S and HSS, S is like MME and HSS is like HSS. In LTE cases, you are getting authentication details, you are getting subscriber information, everything like that. Okay, so you're dealing with that that way. Okay. So now it is the time for us to start studying the actual IMS documentation. Don't be sorry. I'm opening all wrong documents. All right. So this is the IMS document for studying all these things. So first these um, for these things, first they will explain. I've already highlighted this. This is the same document I have sent you. The highlighted parts you can read. Proxy CSCF, what are its functions and rules? What does it do? What are the jobs it will perform? And interrogating CSCF, what are the jobs this guy will perform? And so on and so forth. And serving CSCF and what is this guy's job? Um, like, you know, all the kinds of activities are mentioned here. And not only that, breakout gateway, BGCF component, border gateway control function or breakout gateway control function. So what this guy is responsible, it is to convert the SIP messages into, it will be routing it towards MGCF. So its duty is to select MGCF, etc. And the media resource broker will be selecting a MRFC and MRFP. Like that, every component's information is explained here in this document. All components information is explained here. Okay. Now, what exactly we have to study? It starts with these registration procedures. Um, so we are going to see these registrations by assuming that the user is not registered yet. So user is connected to a roaming LTE network, and with the help of it, it found out the roaming PCSCF's IP address, and it sent a register method to P in the roaming network. Visited network represent roaming network. And once it goes to P, what does the P guy need to do is it need to identify the ICSCF's address of home network, because any user must be registered with the SCSCF of your home network. You are not going to do the registration with the visited networks SCSCF. Visited networks SCSCF won't provide you any services. You require any service, you need to go and communicate with your home networks SCSCF. You must register. Here just P is helping you. Once it receives the register, it is identifying the home network ICSCF component and forwarding that register method to I. Now I is like questioning the HSS, and after finding some information from the HSS, ICSCF is selecting a SCSCF and sending the details to SCSCF, the register method to SCSCF. SCSCF may talk to HSS and get the required subscription authentication details, etc. And eighth step is service control, in the sense it will authenticate, it will authorize the user. All those things will take place in this eighth step internally. Once all the steps are completed, SCSCF finally, by accepting the registration, it will send a 200 OK to I. I will be forwarding that to P of the user's home visitor network. From there it goes to the UE. So this is by considering the user is in a not in a home network, the user is in a roaming network, is a visitor network. So then we are sending it from P to I to HSS, and so after pulling some details, we are sending it to SCSCF, and that guy is performing all the activity by speaking to HSS, etc. And the service control is provided. And what the thing ICSCF will talk to HSS. First, it will question HSS whether this guy is really our user to perform the registration with our network. Is it really our guy? It will question HSS. If HSS tells him yes, this guy is our guy, then what does HSS do? Then HSS says that, okay, that is great. ICSCF says that it is great. If this guy is our user, I need to do the selection of the SCSCF and forward it to SCSCF. What does SCSCF do? SCSCF will pull subscriber authorization kind of details with HSS. After, with the help of those details, it will do the service control and accept this registration. After that, it will be getting the subscriber related information from the HSS. From that moment onwards, SCSCF will be providing services to the user. If this user initiates any SIP service request, it will never be accepted by visiting networks SCSCF. The service request will come to UE to P of the visitor network. P is responsible for forwarding it to I of our home network. Then I will be forwarding it to SCSCF. Then SCSCF need to detect whether that service request must be accepted or rejected, because this user, even though he is present in visitor network, it is using the visitor network PCSCF as just a proxy, and it is with the help of that proxy we are able to reach our home network, and mobile is registering with home networks SCSCF itself. It is not and this is not the concept typically we use in LTE environment. What happens in a LTE environment is, if you are under a MME area, you will be registering with that MME. If you go into a different MME area, into a different MME geographical location, you will be performing the registration with that MME. You will not be performing the registration with your home MME always. But that is not the case in IMS network. Irrespective of wherever you are, in whichever network your IMS user is present in the world, it might be taking the services of a roaming LTE network, and that roaming LTE network is not advertising your home IMS network's PCSCF, but it is advertising the roaming IMS network's PCSCF address. You are reaching the roaming network's PCSCF, but once the PCSCF receives the register method from in the from address and to address fields, and as well as the request URI field, by analyzing those fields, PCSCF will come to a conclusion that hey, this bugger who has sent me a register method, it doesn't belong to our home domain. Our to our IMS network. He is a roaming user coming from a different environment. So what do I need to do? Whichever IMS network this guy belongs to, I will have to find out that IMS network's ICSCF information, and I have to route this register method to that ICSCF, which is the entry point. I will validate it with HSS. Once HSS accepts it, you have to select a SCSF and forward it to yes. Yes will do the service control and accept this registration. Now the mobile IMS user is registered with your IMS network of your home IMS network, not with the roaming IMS network. Even though you are connecting to the home IMS network through roaming IMS network's PCSCF's help, but you are not going to request the IMS services from the roaming IMS network. You are going to request the IMS services from your home IMS network always. So billing always would be done by your home guy. Your services will be either rejected or accepted by your home guy. Always you have to reach your home network for your registration or service requests or any of which. It doesn't matter. So let us consider a scenario here to understand this in a clean way. Let us take that the Reliance Geo user home environment is Hyderabad network, and this guy is visiting Sri Lanka for some work. Now, when he would like to make a VoIP or VoLTE call by being in Sri Lankan LTE network, and when you ask Sri Lankan LTE network that I want to connect to a IMS PDN, Sri Lankan LTE network will provide you with the PCSCF address of Sri Lanka network. So you can send a register method to that PCSCF's address by quoting your SIP URI in the from address to address, and the request URI field will contain the URI of your home network domain. You will keep your home network domain in the request URI part. Once you send such a request to PCSCF of Sri Lankan IMS network, that guy will detect that you don't belong to Sri Lankan IMS network. You belong to Reliance Jio in Hyderabad. So it'll have to find out the IP address of the ICSCF of Reliance Jio ICSCF component of Hyderabad network, and then forward the register method here, and I will be verifying it with Hyderabad Reliance Jio HSS. Then it will select a SCSCF and for register send the register method to SCSCF of Hyderabad Reliance Jio IMS network, and that SCSCF will accept the registration. So even though the user is in a roaming network, with the help of the proxy service, you have reached your home network itself to do the registration. So what is the help that your Sri Lankan IMS network providing? It is only providing the services of a component called as PCSCF, which is just one proxy help. But with the help of the proxy, you are bound to reach your home network ultimately, and you are trying to perform the registration with your home network. Is this clear? Is this understood? Yeah.
Sir,
But
how this
sir, after this ICSF, it will query the SLF for that selecting that HSS.
Sorry?
After ICCF, maybe it will query to that SLF to select that HSS, which HSS it has to select.
That is optional procedure. If a single HSS is there, you will be directly contacting HSS. If multiple HSS are present in your network, then you have to go to SLF to select the HSS.
If many HSS there, it will go through ICCF. After that, SLF
Yes.
and to go to that HSS.
Yes. Yes. I will be first asking SLF, then after that you will go to HSS, then ask HSS whether the user is our user or not. When HSS confirms, then the register method will be forwarded to yes. Then yes will be doing the service control whether to accept this user or not. He will pull the details from HSS and accept it. Okay. Proxima.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, ICCF behave like MME or both are different?
Sorry?
ICCF behave like MME.
Why are you guys comparing it with MME or anything else? That's nonsense because MME is a radio network manager or your LTE manager which decides to which PDN you can be connected to. Your ICSCF is a different component. I have told you that it is like in the SIP environment, it acts like a proxy. Why are you comparing two different architectures and trying to see the ICSCF as a MME or something else? So that doesn't make any sense. There is you are trying to, for example, um, you are I don't know what kind of a practical example I have to quote. Um, okay, you are learning you are learning MBBS, and in
Yes, sir.
MBBS college there is one doctor, and he is showing you how to cut open a body and how to do an surgery. He is showing you, and some other person is there who is studying engineering, is learning about how to build the bridges, etc. Now you are trying to like do comparison between this engineering lecturer to your doctor. Okay, so that even though you can try to roughly compare it, but that doesn't make any sense at all, because both these courses are different, both the um, functionals, everything are going to be different. You are somehow trying to force the comparison. Okay, so
No, sir. Not actually. Actually, a study class I am not attending, sir. So that's why I'm a little bit confused. My question is that it means in a synchronization, how it's happened in this structure.
you
So,
study that class first, and after that you can come back here. Okay, it is nothing to
okay.
do with MME comparison. Sorry, there is no comparison like that. Anyway, any other questions?
Sir,
Sir,
actually, here,
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah,
thank you. Sir, actually, I have a doubt here. So, what is the logic that every time the service is coming from the home network, uh, even if
because
we are compromise the time here?
only home SCSCF can fetch the subscriber information of the user from the home HSS, and only home SCSCF can provide you the services. For example, if you are subscribed for Reliance Jio services in India, and if you go to Sri Lanka, if you connect to Sri Lankan IMS network, they are having different servers in Sri Lanka IMS network, and they're having different programs. You bloody don't want to watch a Sri Lankan soap opera and the Sri Lankan music channels or whatever. You wanted to watch, a local channel provided by Reliance Jio. What IMS services are no use for you if you are connecting to, Sri Lankan IMS network. That is useless. You need to come to Hyderabad IMS network. Are you recognizing the need of that? IMS networks are providing what services? Multimedia services. Whatever multimedia services you have subscribed from your home network, only those services make sense for you. Roaming services may not be sensible for you because roaming services may be different, completely different from your home network services. You want to get the services from your home IMS network.
Yes, I got that logic, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, as we studied in the IMS architecture, so there is no connection between PCSF and ICCF. So first of all, how the request is going from
There is
PCSF to
no
ICCF?
connections. See, first of all of you have to come out of this concept called as connections. All this is IP networking. If you know the IP address of ICSF, you can send it. But as I told you, if you look at the IMS environment, there is no connection between P and I in the same network. But these are not the same network components. P belongs to visitor network, I belongs to home network. Here, two different IMS networks, and between two IMS networks the connection is there. You missed it simply. You missed it completely. That connection between P and I. How did you miss it? Where did you miss it? How that is possible? This is the P, and you are actually reaching through this IBCF interborder control function to the other IMS network. Here you will be hitting your I component of the in the other IMS network. This IBCF may be there, may not be there. IBCF is required if you want the security in SIPS environment. If you don't want it, IBCF's functionality will be minimal. You will be reaching from P to I. So if this mobile user is a roaming user, he is connected to a roaming LTE network, and he got to know the IP address of a roaming PCSEF. He sent a register method to P. P detected that this guy doesn't belong to our home, our IMS network. This guy belongs to a different IMS network. So he won't send forward the message to the SCSEF. Is a SIP proxy, and it will be forwarding the SIP message with his IP address as the source IP address. Destination IP address is going to be this ICSCF address. How do you find out the ICSCF's address of other IMS network? All ICSCF's address must be stored into DNS servers. So by contacting the DNS server, PCSCF can find out the IP address of ICSCF. So this IP address will be source IP address. ICSCF IP address will be destination IP address. You will pack your SIP register method into UDP IP, and you will be sending that IP packets to this ICSCF component, either through IBCF or without involving IBCF. Whether you use the services of IBCF is recommended here. Whenever you are going like this, IBCF is recommended. Usage of SIPs mechanism, SIP secured. But even if IBCF is ignored, you have the connectivity between P and your IMS. But they have brought in IBCF here. That is why you are confused. So if you just remove the functionality of IBCF, you can realize that there is connectivity between PCSCF to the ICSCF of the other IMS network. The other IMS network is this mobile user's home network. This guy is. So you are trying to do the registration with the home network of your operator's home IMS network to get your home operator's network's services.
Hello.
Sir, what will be the interface if IBCF is not there?
If it is there or not there, the interface name is called as MX interface. But if IBCF is present, you have MX between PCRF to IBCF, and then IBCF to other IMS networks, ICSCF component. The interface name is called as ICI interface. Their SIP secured environment will be working.
Hello.
Okay. Answer the same doubt that one more person asked. Sir, if suppose we move to Sri Lankan network, we want to access the home network Reliance Jio, suppose
Proxima, I lost your voice. I lost your voice. I don't know why. Maybe you got muted or what. I'm not getting any voice, Proxima, from your side.
Hello.
IMS services we want to access. But so there itself Reliance, network is not, sorry.
Proxima. Up to now, whatever you spoke has been missing. So just now I got your voice. You have to re-ask your question.
Sir, what I'm asking is, in Sri Lanka, suppose I want to access the Reliance Jio services.
Okay.
There itself, Reliance Jio network itself is not there. I can understand the rest part, like what you make us understood, like it will query the DNS and all, that part understood. But the network itself will not be there in Sri Lanka. So how this will be processed?
See, IMSC services, this mobile bugger is using what? This GM network is nothing but your Sri Lankan LTE network. For using the Sri Lankan LTE network, this Reliance Jio user will be paying money to Reliance Jio for using the international roaming. If the mobile pays some, for example, on the LTE network, this mobile user has transported 4 GB of traffic. For this 4 GB, Sri Lankan network might charge for example, 40 rupees or maybe 400 rupees. If mobile user is paying 400 rupees to Reliance Jio may keep like 100, 200 rupees with them, and they will pay the remaining 200 rupees to Reliance Sri Lankan network with whom they have made a tie-up with. So Sri Lankan LTE network is providing the connectivity to help the mobile equipment to get your LTE, IP network access, so, and providing an SIP proxy to be able to send SIP uh, request messages. Because if any SIP entity, if it is a LTE mobile phone or any other thing, if any SIP entity need to generate a SIP message and send it to somebody, who we require is definitely we require a proxy. So your Sri Lankan LTE network, they not only should provide the LTE infrastructure for uploading and downloading the mobile users' data, but they must also provide one extra component for helping out the mobile called as a PCSCF. The duty of the PCSCF is whatever the SIP request the mobile user is sending, this P will identify that this mobile bugger doesn't belong to my network, because this is Sri Lankan IMS network. This whole thing is Sri Lankan IMS network. I should not provide any IMS services, Sri Lankan IMS services to this guy. So what do I need to do? I need to route this guy to the Hyderabad Reliance Jio network. How do you route it to the Hyderabad Reliance Jio network? This PCSCF will send a DNS message to a DNS server asking, hey, at the right of geohyderabad.com, it seems, can you please tell me where the ICSCF, what is the ICSCF address of geohyderabad.com? I would like to find out that guy's IP address. Once PCSCF contacts DNS and find out the IP address of the ICSCF of at the right of geohyderabad.com, P will start triggering that SIP invite method towards our ICSCF component. And somebody asked me a question, hey, are we going to, how the PCSCF will be contacting ICSCF, Sri Lankan P will be contacting Hyderabad, the IMS network, is it by using, DRA mechanism? No, because these are all SIP messages. These are not diameter messages. Diameter messages will happen only between the HSS SLF components and these components. Between P and I, what messages will be exchanging is SIP messages. SIP doesn't use anything called as DRAs. SIP will be using something called as proxies. So this proxy, if required, it may forward it to another SIP proxy. From another SIP proxy, you may be forwarding it to ICSCF proxy. Your I also is a proxy for you. How do you find out the ICSCF's IP address? Once you know the IP address of I, this P can generate any SIP message, whatever the SIP register method the UE has sent him, he can pack that SIP message inside a IP packet with his address as the source, ICSCF address as the destination. With the help of internet-based routers, we can dispatch that IP packets to the I. There is no complexity in that. There is nothing that you have to worry that, hey, there should be some complex environment called as a DRS or something should be there. Why? Not needed. Because you just need to know the ICSCF's IP address of Reliance Jio network in Hyderabad.
Yes, sir. Concept understood.
Hmm.
Sir, the thing is like, suppose I'm using a Airtel network, okay? So I'm moving from Karnataka to AP. In case of LTE, I'm just thinking. So if that network is not available, so with the third party networks like Idea, Vodafone, whatever is there, I'm connecting in a roaming network. I'm connecting and I'm able to do all the services of LTE network.
Correct.
But it's the same way. Suppose using the Airtel network, move to Karnataka to suppose AP, and there itself that Airtel IMS network itself is not there. How it will come back to Karnataka ICCF and again it will send the request. Understood background, whatever like you told, understood clearly.
See,
But
in
in
order
real
to
time, how it
reach,
is happening?
first of all, one thing that you have to clear in your head is this. Even if the mobile equipment gets a general IP connectivity, I have told you many times that mobile can reach the IMS network. Now you are understanding the first point that Mobile is by using a third party operators network, mobile is getting IP connectivity. You yourself is telling that statement. Mobile is connecting to third party LTE network and getting the connectivity. You only made that statement. That means once mobile has already connected to the IP network, one way or the other, mobile can reach the IMS network. Doesn't matter where that IMS network is. You can connect to that IMS network from wherever you want. For example, let me tell you another blind example so that you can understand it. Let us suppose that you are using two SIM cards in your mobile phone. I'm telling you. One SIM card is Reliance Jio, the other SIM card is Airtel. Now, Reliance Jio network has got a IMS environment. Now you have gone into a area where there is no Reliance Jio network is available. Reliance Jio LTE network is available. LTE signal is not there. So Reliance Jio is not providing you any service in the geographical area. But luckily Airtel has got the network presence there, and you have another SIM card. So you have connected to the internet with the help of Airtel. Now, if you open the Reliance Jio apps and you wanted to watch some channel on Reliance Jio app, you will be able to open that Reliance Jio app and you can still communicate with the Reliance Jio IMS network, and you can get that service. Only the thing that you need is you need to log in into that application with with your username or your Reliance Jio number and password. If you have any such password or anything, or OTP or whatever. You need to just log in into that application successfully. But so the point here is you are getting internet connectivity with Airtel. How are you getting the services from Reliance Jio? Because that is possible. You can go to any IMS network in the world, even through the normal IP connectivity also. You can do that if the operator has configured their IMS network like that. But here I am telling you an additional advantage the visiting network is giving. What is the advantage the visiting network is giving? Mobile is connecting to Sri Lankan LTE network. Not only Sri Lankan LTE network provided you connectivity to the internet, but also Sri Lankan LTE network told you that, hey man, I know that you require the your Reliance Jio's IMS services. What do I do? I provide my PCSCF's IP address. If you have any SIP requests, you generate those SIP requests and send it to me, my PCSCF. Because we have made a tie-up with Reliance Jio IMS operator, so we know the Reliance Jio ICSCF's IP addresses. We can easily route your SIP related request, that anything you send to us, we will be sending it to the ICSCF of the Reliance Jio network. We can arrange that for you. You don't need to reach this Reliance Jio IMS network from internet. You don't need to do that. You can actually send those requests to our IMS network's entry point. Our IMS network is having that intelligence to recognize that you are not sending your SIP methods not for our IMS network. We can understand that. We are that much intelligent. We know that you are not our user. We can understand it. My PCSCF is capable of understanding that. So if you want to generate any SIP request, you generate the SIP request and send to our P. From our P, we will make the arrangements to send it to I. We will be helping you out here. So to connect to your IMS network. If this help is not provided, what does this mobile bugger need to do? Mobile bugger need to connect to this IMS, Reliance Jio's IMS network from internet by finding out these IMS networks IP addresses by using the DNS mechanism. You will be finding out the IP address and you will be sending a register method to your IMS network through your internet connectivity without using this Sri Lankan IMS network. We are not using the Sri Lankan IMS network services. We are trying to reach our IMS network through the internet. So both mechanisms are available, but here I am telling you that the roaming network that is providing you the LTE service is also additionally providing you one extra service. What is it? It is providing you a proxy service. It is telling you that I have got a SIP proxy available with me. I am allowing you to send all your SIP messages to my proxy. I will take the responsibility of sending those SIP proxy messages to wherever you want, to whomever you want. I know that you wanted to send those SIP proxy messages to your home network. I will arrange for it because we have made a tie-up with your operator, your Reliance Jio operator. We take that responsibility. Of course, you will be paying 400 rupees to your Reliance Jio operator. We know that we'll get 200 rupees because we are providing all this service.
Got it, sir. And sir, here IMS PDN will be used, correct?
Yes, IMS PDN would be used. Which IMS PDN? Sri Lankan IMS PDN. PCSCF address will be quoted. But that peak CSCF is the only component the mobile equipment will use in IMS network, Sri Lankan IMS network. Other than this component, we won't use any component services in this Sri Lankan IMS network. Every component you will use is in your home IMS network components. Understanding it?
Yeah,
Because
got
you
it,
are
sir.
trying to reach your IMS. You don't need to have Reliance Jio doesn't need to have is their IMS network implemented in Sri Lanka. Not required. You are reaching your home IMS network from wherever to whichever worldwide network you are connecting. You can connect to any network in the world. You can reach to your home network from there.
Yes, sir. And sir, the dual SIM concept that you told just now, like for Reliance Jio doesn't have, so I can use the LTE, I mean the second SIM card that internet, and I can use the Jio services.
Correct.
If
Correct.
else it is a one SIM card.
If you have only one, because the connectivity is not there, you have to keep quiet and do something else. Throw the mobile outside and do some other work because your mobile is not having any other connectivity. So what do? You can't do anything. You don't have IP connectivity.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
uh, I have one question. Like in LTE, that HSS is using DRA component. Like many HSS are connected. In this IMS, one network HSS is connected to other HSS or not. This type of mechanism is not there. Or DRA not using any DRA component.
We are using
IMS
DRA
HSS.
functions, but once the idea is, for example, if you have a LTE network, there is a MME, there is HSS. MME and HSS connected through DRA. Now, if the mobile user is visiting Paris MME, so right now the mobile user is connecting to Paris MME. Now Paris MME need to talk to Hyderabad HSS. So the message request will come to DRA. When it gets to DRA, DRA can detect that there is only one HSS available. I need to forward it to this single HSS because for the entire Hyderabad LTE network, there is only one HSS is available. But instead of this, if operator is having 3 or 4 HSS here itself, this DRA will be confused to whom I need to send it. To this HSS I need to send, or to this HSS I need to send this message, or to this HSS I need to send it. DRA would be confused. DRA don't know which subscriber details are available with which HSS. If the subscriber details are divided among these 3 HSS, in case even if in a LTE environment, if multiple HSS are present, then we must have a SLF component. SLF is a simple database which will store all the subscribers information that belongs to all the 3 users and which subscriber information is available with which HSS. The details will be stored in the SLF. So what does DRA need to do? First contact SLF, find out the mobile details are available with which HSS, then the request will be forwarded to that HSS. Because if you remember your diameter messages, when a diameter message is generated, you don't even need to quote your destination host AVP. You might be quoting only destination REM. Destination REM stands for domain. If only you have quoted destination REM, not quoting the destination host, that means that you don't know whether this HSS is having the subscriber details or this HSS or this HSS. Only with the help of destination rem, that is nothing but the network details, the diameter message maximum can reach your DRA. But if DRA itself is confused, the mobile details are available with which HSS out of multiple HSS, then DRA must be contacting SLF component, and one based on the SLF response, you will be forwarding it to corresponding HSS. So this SLF and multiple HSS component, multiple HSS mechanism can be implemented even for your even in your LTE environment also. That time DRA will be using that service by contacting SLF. Here, the control components are using that service, ICSCF and SCSCF. Is that clear?
Sir, that is for LT. That is for LT. I know that. I am asking for if that IMS is dedicated for particular HSS is using for that dedicated IMS, then that HSS need not be connected to that DRA element. I am asking that, sir. For
it is
IMS
connected
only.
to DRA. Whatever the connections that you are seeing right now are through DRA only, because all diameter communications happen through DRA.
So what is the use in this IMS network, sir, of DRA element? If that is dedicated use for IMS, that HSS is
That is okay. For example, you bought a HSS which can store 1 lakh subscribers information, 1 lakh IMS subscribers information. Till the previous month, your subscribers are not crossing 1 lakh, one HSS is enough for you. Now suddenly, because people are free and not doing anything in their life and sitting at home most of the time, so their subscribers started increasing suddenly. What operator will decide? Oh, we require another HSS because the present HSS capacity has reached. So we might buy another HSS with another 1 lakh subscribers capacity. Now, if you have 1,80,000 subscribers, maybe 1 lakh users information is available in one HSS, other 80,000 subscribers information is available with another HSS. So even if ICSCF go and send this message to a DRA which is present in the middle, DRA will never be able to decide whether that must be sent to this HSS or the other HSS, because he doesn't know this particular subscriber's information is available with this guy or this guy. DRA don't know. DRA then we definitely need to contact SLF, ask him, hey, this user is details are available with this HSS or this HSS. Once you get the reply, then you will be sending it to that HSS, depending on it. Understanding it? DRS are all called as lower level components. All lower layer components are not shown in the picture, but you can imagine them that they are there working.
Sir, sir, this is same question. It's like the DRA implementing only for that EPC network or IMS network also, because it will query to that HSS for IMS network, or it will query to
Diameter network. See, I have told
diameter.
I have told you that um, okay, I will have to answer. Okay, let us suppose you can cook food. For example, you are a good cook and you can cook biryani really good. You claimed you are a very famous person and somebody interviewing you, and they've asked you, hey, are you a good cook? You say, yes, I'm really good cook. Then if that person asks you, hey, you are a good cook for your home food, or you can cook at outside parties. When you are cooking it in outside parties, you are a good cook, or when you are at home, you are a good cook. What is it? And that's a buddy question. Basically, you're a good cook for anything, anywhere, because you're basically a good cook. Doesn't matter whether you are cooking food for your home purpose or you're cooking the food for outside when you are celebrating with your friends on a party. It doesn't matter. You're a good cook wherever you are. Same way, your diameter infrastructure is the same, either for it is for IMS purposes or for LTE purposes. HSS can store subscriber information related to LTE subscriber information, or it can store information related to your IMS subscriber information. It can have the half a storage, like storing LTE subscriber information in one half part, another half part it is using to store IMS subscription information. This HSS is connected to a DRA. The DRA services can be used by either MME when MME wanted to fetch LTE related subscription information, and when SCSCF wanted to fetch IMS subscription information, SCSCF can go to the DRA and send the message to HSS, and fetch IMS related subscription information will go to SCSCF. Anybody can use it. We cannot say that a DRA component must be separate for LTE network, must be separate for IMS network. You must be a separate good cook for your home, and you must be a good cook for a party. Separate roles. These two things are, it is not equal. That's nothing like that. So infrastructure is the same. Whether you want to maintain one HSS for all the purposes like storing LTE information, IMS information into one single thing, or you wanted to maintain multiple HSS and LTE information you store in one HSS and everything, you can do all that. It's your choice.
So whatever node we are implementing, like multi network or VI network, whatever we are implementing, this
Pranay,
DRA is depending only for that HSS and yes sir. Yes.
Pranay, again I'm losing your voice.
Okay, sir. It's audible right now, sir? Okay, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Rahul.
Sir, if a user is in roaming and he is making IMS call with roaming network, then how
Roaming network
PSCF
is only
will
providing you data service. Roaming network is
yeah
only providing you data service. Your IMS services will be provided to you by your home network. Somehow you have to reach your home network wherever you are. That is the concept of IMS environment.
yeah, but how does PCSEF get to know that this user is not belongs to our
With the help
network
of
or
domain name. With the help of domain name. If your number is 974 at the rate of Sri Lanka tel.com, then you know that this bugger is a Sri Lankan IMS user. If your number is 9789 at the rate of Reliance Geo Hyderabad.com, then you know that this bugger is belong to Hyderabad network. So based on the URI, you can detect SIP URI. You can detect whether this guy is a Sri Lankan IMS user or a Geo user. You can detect that.
okay, sir.
Is this clear, guys? So far, is it understood? Do you have any more questions on this? Okay.
Sir, I have a question on call flow.
Which call flow? The one that we are seeing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
So, sir, here, when sir HSS will, I mean, the authentication, the conversation will happen between HSS and SCCF. So, so here the XRES will be generated,
Yes.
and now
it can be
no
XRES
query
or
is
it
sent
can
to me.
be no. All that is part of this box. This box may contain a lot of steps in the middle. Service control means it will contain the steps needed for validating the user. So you send 403 unauthorized, 401 unauthorized, and that guy will send a fresh register method to you. You will verify that register method containing authentication details, cross-check against the authentication information arrived from HSS. If matching, then we consider that this 8th step is completed. Then SCSCF will be sending 200 OK. So they haven't expanded that service control part. Inside that, the steps will be there.
Then, sir, what will be there in the pull and this pull response, request and response?
This is generalization of your messages that are getting exchanged on the CX interface instead of naming with the exact diameter messages, because this is a IMS document which should contain the SIP related mechanisms, they won't keep the exact diameter messages. So if I have to pinpoint you to the exact diameter messages, this CX query, CX select pull message, which is sent from ICSCF to HSS, is something called as uh, it is something called as location user authorization request, which ICSCF is sending it to HSS. So this is the actual diameter message, but the diameter messages are not named in the IMS document as it is in the diameter format. Instead, they would be named in a different language. So that language is the one that is used here. CX, where CX represents the CX interface. This is the CX interface commands only we are seeing right now. So it is a CX interface command. What is the meaning of pull that is mentioned here? So you are sending a query. So if CX query represents a diameter query, once you send it to HSS, HSS is sending CX query response. So they are generalizing the diameter messages. That's it, because they don't want to mention the diameter messages inside this IMS document. Nowhere it will be mentioned. They will always be writing in this terminology only. What is the interface name and query response means it is diameter answer. They will never directly write those things. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
You have to relate it to the corresponding diameter messages.
Okay. And sir, suppose someone will ask the IMS registration part. So which one to explain? This visiting with the, ICCF to SSCF thing, or directly to PCF to SSCF thing?
Both. It depending on your registering with home network or by being in a roaming network. It depends on that.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the messages that we are going to have. The messages that are listed. Uh, User registration status query. So ICSCF to HSS during SIP registrations. This is invoked by ICSCF. This corresponds to the combination of functional level operations of CX query and CX select pull. Are you understanding the logic here? Now the actual message is called as user authorization request and answer, which I have showed you in the table. So this is going to be equivalent to that. So the CX query and CX query response is the one that is mentioned in the in 23.228, the document that we are studying, is linked to your user registration message in this is the CX document I am showing you. It is linked to user authorization request and answer. It is the actual diameter message. This is a diameter document. So in the SIP document, you will be finding always these things in terms of CX query, CX select pull kind of things. And in case of actual diameter, those messages are called as user authorization request, UAR, or user authorization answer. These are diameter messages. That is the logic that I have told you. So inside that, which AVPs will be present? Public user identity, which is your IMPU, and visitor network identifier, what is the network that the user is visiting, user authorization type, if the username, actually the private user identity is the username, IMP, and destination host and destination REM, the routing information here. Okay, and if this is conditional, if you know it, you can attach that to HSS details. If you already know the user's details are available with which HSS, otherwise you don't need to include this. So these are the critical AVPs that you will include and send the message towards the HSS. HSS will be replying back whether that guy is really existing or not, and if the guy is available and if he's already registered, SCSCF details will be quoted. This is conditional. If that guy is not registered, you will tell that that guy is existing, as that guy is our guy only. You can proceed further for this guy. That kind of response back can be sent back. Okay, so these are diameter AVPs related to the CX operations. So that's exactly the thing that is happening here. And this CX put response or CX pull or pull response are related to the operations between SCSF and HSS. From the table I have showed you again on the CX interface. So um, this message and this message are between ICSF to HSS. Remaining all the messages are between SCSF to HSS. So are HSS to SCSF, these messages. Both the interfaces are called as CX, either from S to HSS or from I to HSS. Okay, so these are called as CX interface diameter messages. Okay, DRA main implementation depending on the diameter which will query to HSS. So there is no dependency whatever node we are implementing like Vivo LTE PC or Vivo Wi-Fi. Yes, there is no dependency. We can implement the DRA to support any technological system. So there is no such requirement that DRA must be operating for only like one component or one technology. DRS can be operating for any technologies.
So same DRA can means segregate for EPC or multi as well. So that is
Yeah, DRS are actually not even the 3GPP's own resources or any other organization's own resources. DRS and their functionality is implemented and maintained by IANA for any organization. The DRS can help to forward the diameter message. Their duty is to forward diameter messages. They can forward any diameter messages, doesn't matter whether they are IMS3 operation related diameter messages or LTE S6A operation or any other operation, doesn't matter.
Sir,
Yes.
still not getting one doubt, actually, I mean, one concept.
Yeah.
It is mentioned saying that in the registration time, PCSCRF will send the register message to ICCF with the parameters like your PCCF IP address, UE IP address, your public user identity and private user identity, and PCSF network identifier. Sir, how the public user ID will go? Because it is not yet registered, no? So from and to will contain the IMSI address of something.
Public user ID would
domain
be
name.
by the user himself, no? User know his public user identity when it is generating a SIP register method. It knows its own ID. Public user identity is
Yes, sir.
own
Yes,
user
sir.
ID.
Correct, sir. But sir, it is not yet authenticated in the SIP, I mean SIP environment. So
Why
once because
authentication is needed
in
to
the
quote the ID? If you have the ID, you can quote it. Authenticated or not, it is a second step. For example, if you are generating a LTE registration from the mobile will quote his IMSI number. You cannot argue that hey, why mobile is quoting IMSI number because he's not completed the authentication and authorization. Without authenticating authorization, mobile is not allowed to use IMSI number. How it is allowed? I won't accept it.
IMSI number will code because I mean for the security purpose. If it will quote its phone number, then it might hack in between somewhere in the network.
Again, that is conditional. It is not like that is a mandatory parameter. You again have to look into that register method to find out what are conditional ones, which are mandatory ones. So only IMPI might be there, which is mandatory. IMPU may be public user ID might be conditional. Conditional means
So it's
whether you
mentioned there mandatory.
if it is If it is going through visitor network, they might actually be like deciding that it is mandatory. If somebody finds out that you are doing the registration, if they think that it is not a security issue, but we must quote it for some technical reasons behind it, so they might have decided it. And of course, for example, let us suppose that you are arguing on one hand that security is needed. Like if you are quoting your IMPU, what is the guarantee that it won't be falling into any third party's hands? That is where your IBCF will come into play. When PCSF is forwarding it to I, this guy will be converting it into SIPs. So it might be storing your public user identity. It might be encrypting it and then send the message to the other IMS component so that it will be secured. It is only going through your environment. You are considering by security, you are sending the messages to other IMS environment. So if any attackers come in, they will come in only in the middle. They cannot enter into this IMS network. It is a private environment, belongs to a operator network. So they can come over here at the ICA interface because IBCF already encrypted required sensitive information. So we can get to understand that the message can go cleanly to the ICSCF without having to be read by anybody in the middle illegally. So we can tell that is why IBCF, that is what IBCF is doing. So you according to the SIP functionality, you may have to quote your public user identity if they mandate it, but your IBCF will be encrypting it. That's okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
Deregistration. We already know that register and deregister is going to be done with the same message itself in SIP environments. It is also a register, but expiration time will be set to 0 seconds. Rest of the activity is going to be same. ICSCF will query HSS mobile is registered with which yes, because it is a deregistration. If it is a deregistration, already registration would have happened. So HSS already knew mobile equipment is registered with which yes, and he will reply back with which yes mobile is there, and we forward that register method to yes. Yes will perform the service control, and it will tell the HSS that mobile is disconnecting. And once you get the response back from yes, and then yes will understand that HSS accepted this. So SCSCF will tell HSS that mobile is disconnecting from its services. Then SCSCF will send a 200 OK message to the user accepting that deregistration. It can be initiated by the network also. Network initiated deregistration. So HSS sends deregister method to yes. Yes will do the service control and it will be forwarding the deregister to P and P to the UE, and UE will be sending 200 OK and we accept it towards HSS. This is in case when the user is present under home network itself. Yes, directly reaching P without using the services of I.
Sir, why HSS is initiating deregister process? It is only database, na? So how can it initiate the register process?
It not only database, it will contain some logic as well, like your subscription time. If your subscription time has reached its maximum limitation, then HSS can tell SCSC if this guy's subscription has reached its limit, we can do the re-registration. So such kind of minimal activities can be done by HSS. Or if operator has suspended the user for any reason, so then also HSS can send the register. HSS will be in the hands of operator backend, like your customer care centers and the backend people. Backend people can do these kind of activities. When they do it, the corresponding action will be taken up. Okay. We are going to study the SIP flows. Um, in this way. So let us suppose that we have to study the uh, IMS call flows. We logically divide the IMS call flows into three parts. How the IMS, how the IMS service messages will reach from user 1 to its registered SCSCF. That SCSCF may be the home network and UE may be in the home network, or UE may be in the roaming network and SCSCF is home network, but we don't care. But the SIP service message reaching from UE1 to SCSCF is called as a originating part. This is called as mobile originated service. So a IMS service is initiated by the mobile, and that service request reached your own SCSCF, which will validate your service request and decide whether to accept it or reject it. So it is reaching. This is called as origination part. Now, when the service request is getting forwarded from this SCSCF to the SCSCF of the other user with whom the other user is registered, this part, SCSCF to SCSCF part, is called as a transit. We use this word transit in terms of airports, etc. So, transit station, the middle station. So basically, the middle part is the transit part, SCSCF to SCSCF. So the originating mobile phones SCSCF to terminating mobile phones registered SCSCF. How the SIP messages will flow, that is the transit part. Then the third part is called as mobile terminated part. Once the service request receives at SCSCF of the other user, from there how it reaches the user on the other side. Again, this user may be present in the home network or this user may be present in the roaming network. We don't care. So how it reaches from SCSCF with whom this UE is registered to that UE itself. So that is called as mobile terminated. So we will be breaking this whole logic into three subsections. We will be studying the call flow separately for how the messages will flow from UE to SCSCF, then how the messages will travel from S to S, then how the messages will travel from S to the other user. We will be studying them separately, and if you combine any combination of one combination from UE to S, S to other S, and another combination from S to UE, and if you combine those three pieces, so it will be forming one end-to-end SIP call flow or IMS call flow. So it will be forming that. So we need to divide it and study it. So what are the scenarios that we are going to consider on the origination part, on the termination part, on the transit part? For origination, what are the different scenarios that we consider? It is originated by the mobile in a roaming network. The mobile is in roaming network. Originated by the mobile when the mobile is in home network. How the signaling call flow will be different. The calls are getting originated in the PSTN, like the originating user is in the landline phone or your PSTN network, old technology network, or the call origination happens in non-IMS SIP networks. It is non-IMS network, a SIP, traditional SIP network. Like for example, Airtel is having a SIP network, not the LTE SIP net, IMS network. They are having traditional SIP network. They are maintaining, or BSNL is maintaining traditional SIP network. From there, the calls are getting originated. How those calls will be reaching the SCSCF. And application server origination, because application servers also user agents. They can be acting as user agent servers, or they can be acting as user agent clients. If they are originating the services themselves, they will be acting as user agent clients. So application server acting as the originating component, user agent client. So different origination scenarios, and then different termination scenarios. What are the termination? Mobile terminated when the mobile is in roaming network. Mobile terminated when he is in home network. Mobile terminated, or the service is terminating onto the CS domain, or PSTN termination. Um, you know, these two things are almost similar. CS domain roaming and PSTN, but only the difference is this may be your home PSTN, and here they have mentioned as CS domain roaming. That means you are there in a roaming CS network. Or non-IMS network termination, you are terminating onto a SIP client, or you are terminating onto different types of application servers. So PSI based application server, direct, indirect, direct using DNS, PUI based application termination, indirect. What is this PSI based, PUI based application servers? What is direct, indirect, using DNS? All this we will study when we are going through those flow. So that is the termination sequences. Now the transit part, how the call flows will move from serving CSCF to serving CSCF, or MGCF to serving CSCF, or serving CSCF to MGCF, or MGCF to MGCF. So the transit part. So when the session originated and terminated in the are served by two different network operators. Origination and termination are served by the same network operator. Origination with PST and termination with same network as in the SCSCF. Origination is PST and termination is in a different network than your present SCSCF network. Like that, we study a lot of transit scenarios. So basically, we study all these scenarios separately, but you have to take a combination of these scenarios. What is the meaning of combination? You take this combination here, and you take one termination sequence, and you take one transit sequence. By combining it, we can generate one full-fledged call flow from one end to the other end. So it is that way. That is how we are to understand these flows. So first we study these origination, termination, and transit separately, each one of them. Then I will finally show you end-to-end call flow for IMS, and we compare it with already the learned IMS call flow for us on the previous classes. We will compare it and try to understand that. So which one we are going to start with? First, we are starting with transit network sessions. That means we are going to imagine somehow the SIP messages are arriving at serving SCSCF. We don't care how they are arriving at serving CSCF. And we are trying to see how these messages will move from serving CSCF to the other serving CSCF. We will only see the transit part. We don't care how it is got originated, how it is going to get terminated. We are not going to bother about it. We are only bothering how the SIP IMS call flows will happen between serving CSCF to other serving CSCF. Meaning is, if two users are registered with two serving CSCFs, now how the call flow will move from one user serving CSCF to other users serving CSCF. That is what exactly we are going to understand. That is the transit part. So once you complete transit, then we will look into the mobile originating part. Then we see the mobile terminating part. By combining these three things, we will form end-to-end IMS call flow. So serving CSCF to serving CSCF, or serving CSCF to MGCF, or MGCF to serving CSCF, or MGCF to MGCF. Those are the four possibilities that we will have. Now, we study one by one. So what is the first one we are studying? Serving to serving procedure, different operators. That means the first user is in one network, the other user is in another network. That means when two mobile phones belongs to two different operators, it doesn't matter whether they are present in their home networks or they are contacting the SCSCF from the roaming networks. We don't bother about that. We are only studying right now. The call already reached the SCSCF of the UE1, and this guy is sending it to SCSCF of UE2. But UE1 and UE2 belongs to two different IMS environments or two different IMS networks. How the call flow will happen, we are studying that call flow. So that's exactly. So what is being ignored in this call flow? So from the originating network, the invite method successfully reached SCSCF. in the first step itself. But actually, it may not be first step. There can be lot of steps. For example, the call may arrive from mobile equipment to P of the roaming originating network, means it could be a roaming network. From P2, it can be sent to I. I will be questioning HSS. HSS might be replying back with SCSEF details. Then finally, we are sending it to yes. We are ignoring all that. We are just simply taking the first step as, hey, we will study the originating part later, but we are taking it for granted that somehow the message already got received by the SCSCF1 with whom the UE1 has registered. Who is originating this service? UE1 is originating that service. That UE1 is registered with the SCSCF1. The invite method generated by that user is received by the SCSCF. What does SCSCF do? It performs service control. What is the meaning of service control? Based on the information it has already received from the HSS, it will determine whether the service that is requested by the UE must be accepted or must be rejected. It needs to determine that, it need to identify that. So it will be identifying that um, service control part. And after identifying it, it decides that this guy subscribed for this service, and from address is the present user who is registered with me, because this SCSF is serving with geo.com. So that guy's domain is rom at the rate of geo.com. So that is the first guy's from address. To address is maybe beam at the rate of airtel.com. So when it is beam at airtel.com, immediately what your SCSF will determine is the other user belong to a different network. I need to forward it to the other operator's environment. So what do? I will go and question what is the ICSCF's address of the terminating user's environment, and after finding the ICSCF's address of the terminating user's environment, I forward this invite method to the ICSCF of Airtel network, because this terminating home network is Airtel network for Beam guy, because the two address is addressed to Beam guy, when Beam at the rate of airtel.com. So this ICSCF address details will be available in DNS servers, like airtel.com's ICSCF address is this. Based on the IP address, we are forwarding that invite method with initial SDP information included inside it, sent to I. What is I doing? It is questioning HSS, asking HSS that this mobile bugger called as beam at the rate of airtel.com is registered with which SCSCF, tell me. Then his guy is responding back in the answer. This guy is registered with so and so SCSCF, because the other user is already completed the registration. We are not studying the registration procedures here. We are studying only the call flow. So once the SCSCF address is extracted by communicating with HSS, we are forwarding the invite method to SCSCF2. SCSCF2 receives this incoming call, and now it does the service control for the guy who is getting this incoming call. Whether this mobile phone who is getting the incoming call, whether he is subscribed for these incoming calls or not. Should I accept that incoming call? Should I reject it? So if he decides that it can be accepted because this guy is subscribed for such kind of incoming calls, no problem at all, then SCSCF will forward this invite method somehow to the other mobile phone. It will be forwarding it, the invite method. How it will be forwarding on the terminating network, we don't care. The mobile may be present in the home network only, or mobile may be present in terminating network. We don't care that about that part. We will be calling that part as mobile termination part, which we'll learn later. So we are ignoring the mobile originated part. We are ignoring mobile terminated part. We are studying from S to S. What is happening between S to S. And the other the mobile user who receives this invite method sending offer response. This offer response is typically nothing but 183 session progress message. So you will be receiving that 183 session progress. Once that session progress arrives here, SCSCF, this guy sends that 183 session progress to I, I will be sending it to yes of the originating guy. That 183 session progress will be sent to the other mobile phone. So it will be traveling all across the path. This 183 session progress. Phone is not yet ringing. We know the reason why the phone is not ringing. We need to respond back with shallow responses as the resources are not yet created. So once that offer response comes 183 ringing, because that is the called as a provisional response, we are sending a confirmation for that provisional response, which is 200 OK. Sorry, PRAC we are sending. So this is the PRAC message that is traveling back, provisional acknowledgement. For this PRAC, there will be a confirm acknowledgement, which is 200 OK. So this is the 200 OK message that comes back. So this is 200 OK. For PRAC, so this is 183 session progress. This is PRAC for that 183 session progress. This 200 OK is for this PRAC. So these three messages exchanged between these two components going through these proxies. By keeping them in the middle, it is traveling in the same path always. Now, once that is done, the guy who is originating the call is um, here. The guy who is originating the call is sending reservation confirmation, which we have studied in the form of update message. The update message will tell you that the resources are allocated. So that means a dedicated bearer got created as part of your LTE radio environment. So a dedicated bearer got created for the user. So it is sending the reservation confirmation, that is SIP update message. This reservation confirmation is SIP update. And for that, you will be sending reservation confirmation, or you will be sending 200 OK. In the 200 OK, you will be accepting that reservation details, and you also convey that even I have got the resources allocated. So from both the guys, reservation confirmation happens, an update happens. So once the resources are created for both the mobile users, and they talk to each other and updated each other that user traffic resources have been created for both the mobile phones, and they can start exchanging the user traffic or your voice traffic, then the phone starts ringing on the guy who is receiving the call, and he is sending this ringing method to SCSCF, yes to I is sending it to the yes of the originating guy, and that guy is forwarding the ringing method to the guy who is originating the call. When this guy picked up the call, 200 OK, and this is going to be the acknowledgement that is sent back. This is exactly the log file we have studied, but comparison between the log file and here, what do you see is these messages are represented in the oral message format. They are not actually explained in the same SIP message format. They are explained in the oral format. So the invite method is actually like a SIP message. This offer response is your 183 ringing, sorry, 183 session progress. That is your offer response method. So which we have studied. I'll bring that up. So invite, 183 session progress is the response. PRAC is the acknowledgement, provisional acknowledgement for this 183 session progress. 200 OK is for this PRAC. After that, resources are got created for both the mobiles for dedicated bearer. So this update is the resource confirm, your resources confirmation. So once you have resource reservation confirmation with update, and that will be acknowledged with 200 OK, then the phone starts ringing, and because this is a provisional message, that is also containing a PRAC and 200 OK for that. But once the phone is ringing, once the guy picked up the call, it is 200 OK and acknowledgement. So this second PRAC and OK message for that we have ignored in this year. So once the ringing happened, after the ringing, there is no PRAC and 200 OK. That is not included. That is not a mandatory one. That is optional. Maybe there, may not be there. whether you send the provisional response, a provisional acknowledgement or not is your choice. So if you get the ringing, you may send a PRAC. If you send a PRAC, there will be one more 200 OK. This 200 OK is for your call acceptance, and this acknowledgement is for the acknowledgement for this 200 OK, with that the call is established. So this transition we are seeing from SCSCF to I. SC is in the originating component, I is in the terminating home network of the terminating user. Once he questions HSS and find SCSCF details, everything is going directly through I to S, S to I. HSS is no more involved. HSS is involved in only one time in terms of location query and response. That location query and response in the CX interface is nothing but this location info request and location info answer. ICSCF will say ask HSS mobile is registered with which SCSCF, and HSS will reply back with the location information answer. You get to know the SCSCF's IP address, and then you start forwarding the SIP invite method to that SCSCF. That is exactly this part, this location query and response. Is this clear, guys? Are you understanding it? Are you understanding what is the role of I? I is the entry point into a IMS network. Whenever any calls are coming to your IMS environment from anywhere, I is the entry point. From any other IMS network, if the calls are incoming, I is the entry point. And I is questioning HSS to find out our user who is getting the incoming call is available with which yes. After finding that, the invite method will be sent to that yes. Now that yes know what is the IP address of the mobile user by including this invite method into a IP packet, source IP address being yes and destination IP address being P, and we send to P, P will be sending it to mobile phone. So, and response will be coming back. How happens on the terminating part, originating part we'll study. This is the transit part. I hope you are understanding what is the meaning of transit, the middle section. Okay, the messages that we are studying here are going to remain same in throughout the call flow study that we are going to have. Only the combinations will keep getting changed. The second combination we are going to study is both the mobile users belong to same network operator. So originating guy is in the same network, belongs to the same IMS network, and terminating guy belongs to the same IMS network. How the call flow will happen in such a scenario. So if what is this case? Okay, if it is the same operator serving to serving procedure, same operator. Now, if it is received by the SCSCF of the originating home network, this terminating home network user may belong to the same guy, but if you look into it, the procedure is not changed a single little bit also. Nothing has been changed. So the idea is, even though both the users belong to the same network, but both the mobiles registered with two different SCSCFs. By considering that mechanism, once the invite comes to one SCSCF, even though the operator network is the same, by considering that the other user is registered with the other SCSCF, we simply, the SCSCF who is received the incoming thing, he will be forwarding it to I will be detecting with the help of HSS. The other user is registered with which yes, and then you are forwarding it to that yes, and then rest of the things are same 40 steps. There won't be any change at all. So whatever the call flow we have studied in our Vaishak log, it will remain same. Starting from here to here, it is going to be everything copy pasted except this PRAC and corresponding 200 OK. One PRAC and one 200 OK are missing. Rest of the things are absolutely same set of messages we have there.
Sir, can you explain again that reservation confirmation message? What is the use of that? Yes, that is.
It is like a traffic channel allocation in case of a GSM call. You have to, in order to, for example, if the phone ringing before this reservation is done, before the ERABs are created, let us suppose that you started ringing the call. This guy picked up the call. Where do you send that voice traffic? On the LTE network. To send the voice traffic on the LTE network, you require a dedicated bearer. You require. So creating the dedicated bearer is the duty of your LTE radio environment or LTE network. Once LTE network completes that, mobile will realize that there is a dedicated bearer created, and mobile SIP protocol will send this reservation confirmation telling him that there is a dedicated bearer created and got activated. This happens on the basis of your once the NAS message arrives to you for activating a dedicated bearer. So once that activation of the dedicated bearer is completed, then mobile sends this reservation confirmation message, which is nothing but this update message. Because in a LTE environment, you require resources to be allocated. So ERAB setup request is happening for creating a dedicated bearer. So this ERAB is for a dedicated bearer. Also, we are asking the permission from the mobile to activate dedicated EPS bearer here for the purpose of exchanging our voice traffic. Understanding it?
Okay, sir. Yes, yes.
So this reservation update is nothing but this update. That reservation confirmation is nothing but this update that is arriving from the user. This update is a SIP procedure to tell that this is it has got user plane resources to be able to send the user plane data. Actually, this update procedure is typically specifically to be used in radio kind of environments when resources need to be allocated for user plane. If you take a normal SIP call, when a SIP call is getting established between two SIP users, between those two SIP users, IP network is always available, and when the SIP call is established, they can start the phone can start ringing immediately, and the phone can be picked up. If the phone is picked up, you can start sending the voice traffic directly on the port numbers that you have exchanged. You can start sending the voice traffic because that is IP network, and everything is already available in the IP network in terms of routers and cable connectivity. But when it comes to LTE, you need to create EPS bearer in terms of LTE because this is a network which is working on the basis of resource reservations. Once the resources are reserved, you must send this update message that for me the user traffic resources are reserved, and once that is acknowledged from the other side also, then you will actually start ringing your phone. Only after that your phone will be ringing. Otherwise, if you ring the phone, if the other guy picks up the call, there is no way you can transfer the voice traffic because the ERABs are not yet created, the dedicated bearers are not yet created. Okay. Um, the next one we are studying is serving to PSTN procedure. Um, so the originating user is in a IMS network, but terminating user is on BGCF. How it will be sent from SCSCF to MGCF with the help of the BGCF. So that part. So invite comes to S, that guy will forward it to B. B will be forwarding it towards the MGCF by selecting MGCF, and you will be having the same things offer response, response confirmation. All the 40 messages will be similar resource confirmation, etc., etc. Only number of steps are reduced because components are reduced. It looks like the number of steps are reduced, but the concept is quite same. There is not even a single message that is changed. Everything is same. Only difference is once the messages comes to B will be sending it to MGCF. MGCF will be converting those SIP messages, converting into ISUP messages. It will start forwarding it towards your PSTN. You will start forwarding it towards your network operator. But if the user belongs to a different operator, then what happens? If the end terminating user belongs to a different operator, we send the invite to S. S will be forwarding it to B. What does B do is B will forward it to the other B, the other B with whom the terminating user is presently under. It is the responsibility of this B to select a MGCF and to deal with the CS network on the terminating side. So we are forwarding it from B to B. This B is not selecting the MGCF component in our own network. This is what we have realized in our earlier scenarios as well. So that is that. So it is going from BGCF to BGCF instead of BGCF to MGCF. Other than that, the call flow is absolutely same. The same messages. There are no changes at all. Absolutely same. Okay. So what did we completed so far? We have completed so far the mobile transition part, the IMS transition flows, how the things will move from one serving component to another serving component. In this case, the serving component is basically the MGCF that is present in the other operator network, other operator CS network. That is the thing. SCSCF to SCSCF or SCSCF to our own BGCF MGCF or SCSCF to BGCF1 to BGCF2 to the MGCF2. So belongs to the terminating guy. And then how the call establishment will take place. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So I have one query, right? Like that the SIP, when both the UEs are connected and the actual traffic is going, then they are communicating directly without that IMS component. There also that SIP session will be in continuation, or that only traffic is going. One query is that.
That will be dependent on the operator's configuration again. If operator has configured, as I told you yesterday, ALG component or anything like that, then the traffic must be going through the IMS network, both user traffic as well as signaling messages. So the operator will be making a copy of everything the users are doing or users are exchanging.
No, if both are communicating directly.
If they are communicating directly, user traffic will be happening through between them directly. IMS components may not be involved here, but signaling point of view, IMS components are involved. If the call need to be terminated, it need to be terminated through the IMS network. It cannot be terminated directly between the mobile users. If it is terminated directly between the mobile users, your IMS network will not recognize it. IMS network will still be doing the billing for the amount of time that your call is on. So they will keep doing the billing. So your termination must happen through IMS network. So signaling, even though your voice traffic is directly getting exchanged through only LTE environment without even entering into IMS, but at the time of call termination, call finishing time, the messages must go through the proxies. So proxies will generate the CDRs, your PCSCF and ICSCF. They are responsible for generating CDRs. Here CDRs in the sense how much time you have spoken on your IMS call. For example, if Reliance Jio is giving 1000 minutes of time call time for you on their IMS network, so somebody need to count how many minutes of voice calls you are on. And if you cross the timing, they should not provide you the service. So somebody is counting. Who is that somebody who is counting it? Your proxies are counting it. So they must know when a call is getting initiated, when a call is getting terminated. So they will be aware of that. The SIP messages will be going through the proxies, even though the data is directly happening between the components.
Means at the starting and at the end only that situation will be initiated or terminated.
But in the middle also there could be some SIP related messages that might be getting exchanged. Like for example, in the middle, if the quality of service is getting changed, so you still have to exchange your SIP messages related to SIP called as re-invite. Re-invite methods will be there. Like you might be adding some other third guy into a conference. You require re-invite or call holds. You put the user on the call hold. The call hold related SIP messages will go through the SIP environment only or IMS environment only. So you cannot just imagine blindly that okay, only at the starting and at the ending the messages will go through IMS, not in the middle. There will be a lot of activity in the middle also. It maybe may not be. For example, if you look into this session in here, after the call is established, throughout your user data exchanging, there is not even a single SIP message. Only the SIP messages are again available only at the ending when the call is about to be finished in terms of buy. Who they are sending the buy to? The user is sending the buy to 100. Who is 100? We have identified as PCSEF. So PCSEF is getting to know that the call is getting terminated and the same buy is getting forwarded from the proxy to the other user. So that means in the middle, proxy is aware that the call is getting terminated and your PCSEF can generate CDRs, call data records, telling that this guy spoke on IMS call for so much time, 22 minutes, 30 seconds he spoke on. So it will be counting. Somebody is doing that job. Okay. So, yeah. So we have completed the uh, transition part for IMS. Then we are going into, okay, we do one thing. The mobile originating part and the terminating part we will complete in our tomorrow's class. And